Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare 2's DMZ mode. Yesterday, we talked about how it was officially confirmed that DMZ was going to be a thing. We saw some leaks coming from the Los Angeles Rams X Call of Duty event that they had previously, but yesterday the ESRB gave an official rating for Warzone 2.0 as well as Modern Warfare 2, and in there they mentioned that DMZ is going to be a thing. I'm excited for DMZ. I think it can actually be interesting, especially this whole like survival escape from Tarkov kind of like game mode that they're going for. Sure, that could be really good. But I'm also really concerned about the game mode as a whole as well because of developmental resources, right? What they put into this game mode and what they're going to get back out of it. When we talk about the idea of traditional Call of Duty multiplayer, over the years we've been discussing how it seems like they're focused on so many things at once that they can't really just focus in on the things that really make COD COD. You know, normal multiplayer maps, weapon balancing, things like that, prestige mode, challenges that actually track 100%er, like all these things have sort of fallen by the wayside over the course of the past couple of years, and I wonder if it's because these developers are being forced to push the game out before it's early, if they're being stretched too thin. There's so many possibilities out there, it's really hard to nail down just one culprit as to why Call of Duty has been taking this downward shift over the course of the past couple of years. Well, when we look at the idea of DMZ, in addition to normal traditional multiplayer, and also in addition to Warzone, which are, you know, Warzone and multiplayer, these are the two, this is the bread and butter of the COD franchise. It used to just be multiplayer back when, well now Warzone's obviously a part of the conversation. Well now we have DMZ, which they're apparently very hyped about, but they're also being very secretive about as well. And how many times have we seen Call of Duty developers put so much time and effort into an extra game mode or into something new? Champions Hill is the most recent example with Vanguard, just for that new game mode to really not hit home, for that new game mode to not really get a whole lot of support, and for that game mode to be eating up those resources pre-launch that caused the rest of the game to suffer a little bit because they had to put time and effort into this extra thing that they wanted to do just for that extra thing not to end up working out. That's why I'm concerned about DMZ, but there's also the possibility that DMZ could be a banger. And I'm going to pull up some old school footage right here, guys. Prepare to watch me die. We're playing War. Dude, I liked War back in Call of Duty World War II. I will say I did not like... Okay, I'm a stats nerd. Like, you know, I'm really into stats and breaking stuff down and things like that, you know, and one thing I didn't like about War was the more time and effort I put into the game mode, the worse my combat record looked, because I used to really care about my combat record, and, you know, your kills and your deaths, I don't even think your wins and losses, I might be wrong about the win-losses, but I do know your kills and deaths did not track in a game mode like War, and so, you know, you would see these people that are like Master Prestige level 1000 with like 10,000 total kills, and it's because they only played the War game mode, and I thought that was really weird. I think there's ways they can go around that and make it so it actually fits a little bit better, but regardless, the War game mode itself was so much fun. When I was going for Chrome Camo, yeah, the Mastery Camo, the peak, the pinnacle of camos in Call of Duty World War II, you know, I played a lot of War. That was just the place you wanted to go if you wanted to go work on camos, while also getting a break from the traditional COD experience. And I would say War is a perfect example of a dev team putting a bunch of time and effort and resources into something completely different. I mean, these are brand new objectives, brand new maps that are specific to this game mode. Like, War was its own separate entity. And as far as I can tell, and, you know, from my own personal perspective as well, people ate this stuff up. War was fantastic. It was so cool, and it's a crime. It's a shame. It is terrible that a game mode like this did not make its way into a game like Call of Duty Vanguard. Instead, we got Champions Hill, which they never updated and never did anything with, as compared to a game mode like War that could have been expanded upon so much. I mean, you look back at the headquarters in Call of Duty World War II, and how that was coming out for, like, you know, the PS4 and the original Xbox One, and what more they could have done with hardware for, like, the PS5 and the Series X, and with a vast majority of players also making the switch to PC nowadays. Like, they could have done so much more because the hardware is so much better now when it comes to the headquarters. But the same is also true for a game mode like War. They could have really added more players to it. They could have gotten crazier with the scenarios. I mean, they gave us D-Day, for crying out loud, you know, and this was like their first iteration. Typically the first iteration has nostalgia to it, and it's got like those warm fuzzies as you think back to what it was like when you first got to play and stuff like that. But also typically the first iteration of something, especially in the COD franchise, is not necessarily the best, because they can iterate upon, you know, what they had previously and they can make it better over time. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail, but a game mode like War, they could have made it bigger and better in a game like Vanguard, but they just decided, who cares? We're not gonna play War anymore. We're gonna play Champions Hill because that's where the future is. Esports. Like, I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. So when it comes to the idea of DMZ, it could be a really cool thing for the COD franchise. We do know that Modern Warfare 2 is going to be a 2-year game. And as a result, when DMZ launches, which right now they haven't really officially announced DMZ all that much, so we don't even know if it's going to be there at launch or if it's going to be a later update or what's going on with it. But it's going to be around for 2 years. And the question is, are we going to get a 2-year Champion Hill that does nothing? Or are we going to get like a 2-year War that continuously gets updated and has more and more stuff being added to it and people actually fall in love with it? That's the big question for DMZ. And again, the reason why I want to bring it up going full circle here is because I'm like a multiplayer purist. You know what I mean? Like, Battle Royale's fine, whatever. I'm sure DMZ will be fun, sure. But I just want to go back to the days where Search and Destroy was like the pinnacle of awesomeness in COD. Like, people just loved playing Search. You know, Domination was banging, and they really put so much time and effort into the placement of the flags and the spawn systems and things like that. Like, people were really into Team Deathmatch and Free-for-all and stuff like that. I feel like nowadays, multiplayer is an afterthought. I've said it before. I feel like multiplayer is just a vessel to push people into Warzone because that's where the money is. Despite Warzone being a free-to-play game, have you seen the crazy cosmetic shit that they've been putting out recently? Yeah, they make more than $60, I would imagine, off of so many people just based off the cosmetics that they're charging. You know, they can charge 60 or 70 for the multiplayer, and sure, people may purchase that, but they're spending a lot more on actual cosmetics and things like that, which are mostly being used in Warzone. You know, I think it could be argued that multiplayer nowadays is just a place where people go to level up their guns for Warzone. You know, I don't think that's too much of a stretch for a lot of players out there. Obviously, we don't have the numbers, but you guys get where I'm coming from. So, you know, when it comes to DMZ, it could be another Champions Hill, it could be another War, and I'm really hoping it's going to be another War, because otherwise they're going to have wasted all those resources, all that time, that effort, the money, everything, you know, and all that stuff could have gone better, in my opinion, towards making the multiplayer better. So if we have to have an extra game mode, let's hope it's good. Let's hope it's really good, and it's a core part of the experience of Modern Warfare 2. But of course, as of right now, Activision has not really mentioned it whatsoever, so we really have no idea. But guys, that's it for this video here today. I was feeling nostalgic about the old War game mode and how it kind of can tie into a game like Modern Warfare 2, and thus, that's how my brain works, I suppose. Thus, this commentary came to be. So, hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.